Both Neocities and GitHub pages provide you with a way to not only create your own website from the ground up, but also provides free hosting. Even in the modern day, there are still ways to get yourself a website with a partly customizable domain for free. Whilst you probably know that GitHub is usually utilised for its ability to facilitate the storage of code repositories for software projects from all over the place, fewer use the pages feature embedded within the site. Provided you have a valid HTML document within one of your repos on your account, all it takes is a couple clicks in order to see your HTML document hosted online, available for anyone to connect to. And whilst the end result is largely the same, Neocities differs in its aims to its end user. Neocities derives its name and purpose from the now long defunct GeoCities, which some of you old heads watching may or may not remember. I'm a brain-rotted Gen Z personally, so unfortunately I don't remember the good old days of independence online, but I digress. Its purpose was, and still is, to emphasise the importance of an independent, unique and personal internet, with websites changing from user to user in design, focus and pretty much every other metric you could use to compare them. Neocities is much more geared towards those who take web development and their websites as a hobby, as opposed to the much more professional, suit and tie standard environment presented on GitHub, some of the time anyway. Getting started on both of these sites is pretty similar. You just create your free account. With Neocities at the account creation screen, you are granted the ability to choose your partly unique domain name, which is the only time you can choose it, so choose wisely. Whereas with GitHub, you choose the name of your GitHub pages at the time when you choose to have one. The page's website domain is, I think, the same name as the repository, but no matter which one of these two platforms you go for, the domain name isn't that pretty. With your Neocities site ending in neocities.org and your GitHub pages site ending in, I think, github.page.io, github.io, something like that. So you will have the kind of ugly suffix to your domain. For a clean looking domain name, as far as I know, you would have to purchase one from a domain registrar like Epic or GoDaddy for an annual fee. Neocities provides you with a very cool exploration page, allowing you to view any other Neocities sites. A lot of cool looking sites can be found through here. Both GitHub and Neocities provide you with an in-house browser editor in case you need to make any edits, but using your own IDE or similar is probably still a better idea in my opinion than writing your entire website from within the web browser. Whilst the Neocities code editor is nice to have, it's not exactly something I would rely on to, like I say, develop an entire website with. GitHub's the same, but if you've ever used GitHub's online editor, you know it's probably just for making comments or notes. It's nothing you would actually program in. GitHub has Git built in, surprisingly, which means you can track every single change you make, or someone else's edit if it's a collaboration website. Accidentally deleted a bunch of stuff? No worries, you can just roll your site back. Want to experiment without breaking your main site? Branch it out and play around. You can basically treat a website like a save file with unlimited undos with GitHub. Neocities does not have version control. Once you overwrite a file on your Neocities site by uploading and overwriting something or editing it in their code editor and saving, it's gone unless you've backed it up yourself. Using an external coding environment like VS Code or Notepad++ can negate this, as you would then have a local copy of the code that you have uploaded to that site. On GitHub pages, you can use site generators for making blogs or documentation pages without having to write the HTML yourself. You can even throw in themes and plugins if you're feeling fancy. Neocities, meanwhile, is more DIY, brick by brick, but of course, this is by design. Neocities is there for you to write your own website, and you alone. Check out the Explore page if you're stuck trying to implement a feature or want some inspiration. I touched on custom domains earlier, but let me be more specific. Both Neocities and GitHub pages do let you connect to a custom domain that you have. That's connecting your site to a custom domain. However, Neocities will have you pay for a monthly subscription in order to allow for a custom domain to be connected to your site. Now, something GitHub pages is more accustomed to than Neocities is the deployment of your site and the integration of other code repos. If you're already working in GitHub, updating your site is just pushing a commit. You edit your files locally, hit git push, and boom, the updated site is now live. Neocities has a drag and drop uploader on their website, which is fine. It's also easier to get to grips with for someone who may not be familiar with GitHub, but it's not really made for big, frequent updates, and there's no automation unless you've written your own sort of external script. GitHub Pages doesn't have super strict limits, as long as you're not trying to host Netflix 2 or something. They do have a soft cap, I've read, on bandwidth and build time, but most personal sites will never hit that soft cap. Neocities does have a limit though, and one you may encounter if you dedicate a reasonable amount of time to developing your website and adding content. The free tier has a 1 GB storage cap and a 200 MB per month bandwidth allowance, which isn't terrible if you're developing a static like site, or a personal blog or a personal website, something akin to that. But if you're hosting big image files or uploading lots of changes, you will hit that limit pretty quick. The supporter tier does bump those limits way up, but that is indeed a paid subscription tier, so that's probably something worth considering. And with the Neocities free tier, you are also limited to the types of files that you can upload. So I believe you are limited to basic files like HTML, CSS, JSON files, I think as well, and a couple others. Very, very simple, so no JavaScript or anything like that. Whereas with GitHub Pages, you aren't limited to the types of files you can upload, so you can fill your heart as much as you want with all the JavaScript and all of the different frameworks that you can use, all for free. Whereas with Neocities, if you wanted to stick with Neocities and upload different kinds of files, you would need to pay for the subscription tier. And if you are thinking of paying for a subscription, there might not be that much holding you back from paying for a small VPS to host your website on yourself. But in doing that, you would have to manage all of the back-end web hosting that Neocities does take care for you. So it's really up to you and how much about web hosting or web development you want to learn or can do yourself already. Neocities feels like a weird little internet art gallery from 2005. It's got a nice cozy feeling to it without sounding too fruity. GitHub Pages, by contrast, feels more like a clean office desk. Suit and tie, everything is in its place. Very functional, but sterile and devoid of the early 2000s feel. It really comes down to what kind of website you want to build yourself and how you want to go about doing it. If you're asking me for my opinion on which one is better, well, objectively, GitHub Pages is better than Neocities due to its lack of a hard limit on the amount of stuff you can upload to it and the integration it has with your other code repos if you are already using GitHub. However, Neocities is my favourite and my preference of the two because of how cozy it is and how there are so many different, personal, unique websites within the same ecosystem as your Neocities site. It's fun browsing other websites on Neocities to see how people have developed their own sites with the constraints given to them under the free tier subscription. Neocities does hold your hand a bit more when it comes to the web development side of things too, so if you're getting started with web development and want somewhere to either develop or host your site, Neocities, in my opinion, is the way to go. If you already have a site or need a professional look and feel to your site, GitHub Pages is probably for you. In my humble opinion, Neocities is the quintessential site that you should go to if you want to start web development or host your own personal website. It's free, it's cozy, it's easy, it's non-professional, it's just throw whatever you can into a HTML document with some CSS and upload it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video.